share something with you. That might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife or something, completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.
This is Joe Pugh for IFL TV, proudly sponsored by Everlast here in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. After it could have been a little bit more fiery, Dev, I'm sure you'll like to say yourself, but Fury Chisora 3, it's on for December 3rd, and seeing Fury once again in a big stadium fight in the UK.
His second consecutive one. Could it have been more fiery? Yeah, but I think it was up to Derek Chisora. You don't know what you're going to get with him. He could have no-sold the whole thing, not answered any questions, not done anything, or he could have gone absolutely crazy. I think we got him on about a 7 today. I would imagine the closer the fight gets, the more you'll start getting towards a 10. And yeah, look, you got two of the most talked about, charismatic and volatile characters in boxing, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of fireworks to come.
100%. Let's go over the main talking points. Derek goes to ring Eddie Hearn. You was next to him. Was he actually ringing him?
I actually couldn't see. I think that he held it at a certain angle. He has his brightness very low. That's something I've noticed. Derek Chisora has his brightness on his phone very low, so I couldn't actually see Eddie's name pop up. But hey, it's a nice story. Would have been a good bit of fun. It was a good thing that he said. It was good fun. There were some funny things set up there.
Yeah, 100%. And I was talking to a few of the others, and they said how strange it was that another heavyweight's name being mentioned so much in the build-up to this fight with Anthony Joshua. Derek Chisora was kind of on the defensive of AJ throughout the whole press conference. What did you make of that yourself?
Well, he's his mate. He's that's the sort of friend that you want. You want friends that defend your honour or defend you when you're not around. And Derek Chisora is clearly a close and dear friend of Anthony Joshua. So fair play to him, sticking up for him if he felt as though Anthony Joshua was under attack. More power to him. Was his name mentioned an awful lot? I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of talk about Usyk. That seems to be the next fight. The Joshua fight didn't happen. And it looks like in Q1 of next year, all roads lead to Alexander Usyk, which is dangerous talk because Derek Chisora is looking to derail those plans. And it's always dangerous when you've got another fight lined up or you've got your eyes on another prize, especially when you've got someone like Derek Chisora sticking it on you.
100%, and there has been some criticism over the choice of opponent in Derek for the third time. I think that mainly comes from how Fury disposed of him in their second fight, but what was that, like 10 years ago now, coming back off that. But Frank kind of went through BoxRec and went through a list of all the potential opponents and kind of debunked them. From your perspective, do you think Chisora is the best available opponent for December the 3rd?
Yeah, and look, we have been told for years that Derek Chisora has got so much better since that second fight with Tyson Fury. I would say that actually Tyson hasn't got the credit for that second win. When you talk about the resume and all of that sort of stuff, people ignore they beat Derek Chisora. Suddenly he's got so much better. So let's find out how much better he is. He's no longer Del Boy. He's now War. There's been some good wins in there. Takam, Pulev coming off that win as well, by the way, and only Joshua and Klitschko had beaten Pulev. So he's come in form, and the man that beat Derek Chisora 8 years ago, that Tyson Fury was fleet of foot, he was younger, fresher legs, he was moving around, and I haven't seen him box like that since the first Wilder fight, particularly the first 11 rounds where he was trying to move and keep away from Deontay Wilder. Since that 12th round of the Wilder fight, he has turned into a bit of a bulldozer, a bit of a bully. That style lends itself better to someone like Derek Chisora, because if you're going to try and stick it on Derek Chisora, he's going to stick it right on you. Plays perfectly into his hands. Tyson Fury, Chisora's not going to have to go looking for him this time. So there's a couple of things there. Chisora's apparently got better, that's what everyone says. He's got some good wins. Fury may not have the legs that he once did, therefore his style is going to be different. And yeah, look forward to it. And also, here's the other thing, right? In 12 rounds, Derek Chisora gave Alexander Usyk a better fight, a harder fight, a more uncomfortable fight than Anthony Joshua did in 24 rounds. That was only a year ago. So he goes into this fight with his stock high. So I think it's a good opponent.
And we'll move on to the co-main then, Daniel Dubois versus Lorena. Kind of an unknown entity, I think, Lorena is. We know he's moved up from cruiserweight. I think only one loss is on his record, and that was down at cruiserweight. How much do you know about him?
I believe he avenged that loss as well. He is a southpaw. He's from South Africa. He's tricky. And there's other tricky southpaws out there in the heavyweight division that Daniel Dubois will one day want to fight, namely Alexander Usyk. So if Daniel Dubois has his sights on a fight with someone like Alexander Usyk, why not find out what you can do against someone like Kevin Lorena, who may be quicker, he's certainly going to be smaller, and he could fiddle it. He could cause Daniel Dubois all sorts of problems in there. The sort of questions he could ask him, I don't think Daniel Dubois has been asked yet. So it could be a banana skin, actually, this one for Daniel Dubois. And Kevin Lorena really wants it. He's been very active on his social media. He wants Daniel Dubois. As soon as he got a sniff of this fight, he wanted it. And there may be an upset there. Hopefully not. Hopefully Daniel, makes a statement, gets him out of there, and makes a big shout on this huge stage. Same week as Tyson Fury, same night as Tyson Fury. But we'll see. It's a good fight.
Coming off that emphatic win over in the States, a lot of big names were being chucked about. Kind of Dillian Whyte was the big one. Why do you think the big names couldn't be made and we've gone for someone like Kevin Lorena, who is more of an unknown entity?
I don't think the Dillian Whyte fight is ruled out forever. I think they probably got to a stage where Tyson Fury was going to fight December the 3rd, and the Daniel Dubois / Dillian Whyte date looked like it was going to be November 26th. You can't do two pay-per-views back-to-back in back-to-back weeks. It doesn't work. So I think it was kind of taken out of their hands a little bit, but I fully believe that fight will be revisited in the future. It's a good fight for both guys. Dillian Whyte will believe that he can beat Daniel Dubois. I know he believes he can beat Daniel Dubois, and Daniel Dubois could do with someone like Dillian Whyte on his resume if he can do it. Like, not many people beat Dillian Whyte. If Daniel Dubois does a job on him, that would be a big statement. But yeah, we've landed on Kevin Lorena, tricky southpaw, might upset the odds.
100%. Let's move on then. You were right. Joyce Parker, it didn't do as many pay-per-view buys as Benn Eubank. It was an outlandish statement to come out with a few months ago, but the fight didn't end up happening. Just want to know your take on it.
I could have said a lot. It didn't feel like the right thing to do. Obviously, I said that statement. It didn't feel like a good thing to be doing to then sort of be like, look, I told you to do more. Like, it's not really my thing. It didn't feel right, especially like to all the undercard fighters that then didn't get paid that night. So yeah, look, it was all a good bit of hype in the build-up. I said what I said, and I said it with my chest. But yeah, we moved. It's a shame that fight didn't. Well, I say it's a shame that fight didn't happen. If it a few weeks ago, I definitely wanted to see the fight, but with everything that happened, it's good that it didn't happen, really, isn't it? But yeah.
And yeah, just a word on that undercard. Do you think, like, if it had been a Queensbury show, they would have carried on with the show, maybe moved venue? I know there's only 24 hours notice, but a lot of undercard fighters were left without a payday and left without a fight.
I think it's probably case by case. I mean, it's one for Frank. It depends on what you've got on the undercard. They didn't have an awful lot, and I'm not sure anyone really going to that fight were going to see any of the undercard. And I don't know what the situation was with regard to the undercard getting ticket allocation as well, because there's a chance it may have just all gone to the box office, in which case no one wanted to see the undercard. They were all just there for the main event. So it's case by case, really. Look, if you've got a very intriguing, gripping undercard bout which has sold a load of tickets, you probably go ahead with the show, but I can see why they pulled it.
This is a 1-2 kind of bounce with these announcements. This was the second yesterday, Ryder versus Parker. That's kind of, if one good thing come out of the negotiations with Fury Joshua, is that both teams can work together, and we've got a great fight.
It's a great fight, isn't it? It's Zach Parker seems to be coming into the sort of peak of his powers right now, seems to be knocking out people that don't normally get knocked out. He's had that position with the WBO. He thought he was going to fight Andrade. Twice he thought he was going to fight Andrade. And it looked like Andrade didn't want the smoke in the end of a Zach Parker. So I don't know what he's up to. I don't know what he's planning on doing next. So you land on the next guy in line, and it's John Ryder, and you think, I wonder if they can get that done. And because of the new friendship that appears to be in place between Queensberry and Matchroom, they've got it done. Really good fight for both guys, and it's the WBO interim title that's on the line, which means you become a mandatory challenger for Canelo Alvarez. And then Canelo has a decision. Am I going to fight Zach Parker / John Ryder, or am I going to vacate and do other things? Either way, the winner of this fight is a big, big winner, because you either become a world champion in a historic division in this country, you become a world champion, or you get to fight Canelo. By the way, Canelo's there to be beat right now. He's there to be beat. I don't think he's the guy he was. So either way, these fighters win.
Next up, though, we've got Davis versus Baluta. Really tough fight for Liam Davis. Really solid undercard as well. You've got Avanesian back out, Anthony Yard back out. Just go through that card and on the fight with Baluta, because that is a tough one.
Baluta's a nutcase. He's an absolute nutcase. I don't know why these guys keep fighting him, because he keeps beating them. And I think I know now, he's actually a Queensberry fighter, so he's part of the stunning sort of batch of super bantamweights that Queensberry has. He's tremendous. I like him a lot. I also like Liam Davis a lot, and I can't wait for this fight. I actually don't know who's going to win. I feel like I'm saying that before every Liam Davis fight. I don't know who's going to win, but he always wins, and he's unbeaten, and he's looking better and better and better. And he's got a bit of a chip on his shoulder going into these fights. He loves being the underdog. He loves saying things like, none of you guys believed in me. You never thought I could do this. So I think he'll get a lot of people saying that Baluta's going to beat him, and that will probably lead to the best performance of Liam Davis's career.
Last one then. We've seen that Queensberry and Matchroom can work together, as previously mentioned, with Ryder and Parker going into 2023. Is there any fights in particular that you'd like to see across promotional events, kind of, if these deals can be made?
Well, who have they got? So if Dillian Whyte becomes a Matchroom fighter, I don't know if that's going to be the case or not. Obviously, the Daniel Dubois Dillian Whyte fight, you'd love to see that revisited. Anthony Joshua against any of the guys, Tyson Fury, Daniel Dubois, Joe Joyce, any of those guys would be tremendous. And yeah, I don't know, you tell me. There's Buatsi, Yard, of course, at some point. That will probably happen when Yard's got 3 of the 4 light heavyweight world titles, which is going to beat Artur Beterbiev for in January. So yeah, there's some really good fights to be made, and I'm optimistic now we can actually start getting these done and seeing them. It's good news.
Excellent. Dev, thank you very much for speaking to IFL TV. Hopefully catch you up with you in Telford, if not before, and I'll speak to you soon.
Cheers, Joe P.
Cheers. Cheers, mate.
I'm going to share something with you that might put me in a very negative light, yeah.
Relationships are not my forte.
See if someone grabbed up my wife and saying completely different ballgame.
I'll walk away from it, and this has been like a therapy session.